your hosts, Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew.
Yes, indeed. Phone number for Loveline, 1-800-LOVE-191. Fax number 310-854-4455. I'm Adam Carolla. That is Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew is a board-certified physician and addiction medicine specialist. Tomorrow night, we'll have Blink 182 in here.
Haven't seen those guys in a while.
It's only been 4 or 5 months, isn't it? Hasn't it? Wasn't it?
About 6 months.
About 6 months.
Yeah.
Nice guys, those Blink 182ers. So we'll see them tomorrow night. Save Ferris, another friendly group. Probably the horn section has probably sprouted pubic hair since the last time we saw them. They were in here probably 6 or 8, 9 months ago.
Yeah, something like that.
They're enjoying some success, and the Deftones will be in here on Thursday, who we haven't seen in, I can't remember when. Anyway, tonight we have Paul Vercammen. Is it Paul Vercammen or Paul Vercammen?
It's Paul Vercammen, which you usually call me, but all of a sudden now you have a mental lapse.
Oh, really? I was going for the European
And now everybody says,
pronunciation.
well, that'd probably be Vercammen, but...
Paul Vercammen. Paul Vercammen
Just put Paul Ver.
is the CNN entertainment reporter. Now, we met, and when I say we, I mean me and my sidekick Drew over there, met Paul at the NAPTI convention that was in Las Vegas about 2.5 years ago, was it not?
Right.
This is a convention filled with TV people. Imagine if we could just release some sarin gas into that place, what a better place the world would be. We'd go too, Drew, but I think it'd be a small price to pay in terms of humanity.
It's TV people selling their wares.
Yeah.
A supermarket, a flea market, a swap
It's like
meet.
a Turkish bazaar.
Yes.
It really is. Yeah,
Except they're
swap
selling
meet.
TV shows.
Yeah.
Right. They have this each year. Sometimes they have it in New Orleans. Sometimes they have it in Florida somewhere. They had it in Vegas this year, or 2.5 years ago when Drew and I had to go through this ritual. And we had to just sort of sit there and shake hands and talk to
Schmooze.
affiliates and schmooze and work our way around. And it's everything that's wrong with TV, but it's all under one roof in one weekend. But Paul, of course, working for CNN and doing the reports for CNN, interviewed us, which they ran on CNN. And then when we were leaving, just coincidentally, we hadn't met before then, we ran into Paul and some of his camera guys at the airport when we were leaving Vegas, and as it turns out, Paul lives, or I should say lived because I moved, just a few blocks from where I lived at the time.
Now that you're big time.
Yeah, I moved up in the hills. I haven't given him my new address, by the way. I offered to give him a ride home because they sent me a town car, and it turns out we're blocks apart. We shot a round of golf a few months later, and I gave him...
Going to 7-Eleven with you is an adventure.
Yes.
You should all know that Adam carefully selects all of his snack foods.
Oh, the beef jerky? He didn't cram it down his pants or anything and walk out with it?
No.
Just for the thrill?
No.
Oh,
I did have some jerky in my pants, but I had it in there before I entered the
okay.
7-Eleven.
We played with Jimmy one time as well.
That's right.
Which is a very funny round.
Jimmy, the sports guy, and you also know him from Win Ben Stein's Money. But anyway, Paul is turned out to be sort of a friend, and then we saw him over when I did Space Ghost. I ran into him over at CNN.
Has Paul seen The Man Show?
I don't know.
I've heard about it.
Oh, you got to...
And I've interviewed Drew a few times now.
Oh, you have?
On other subjects. We didn't tell you.
Like that's like going out on your
We
wife
don't
or
want you to
something.
feel jilted.
He gets very disturbed about these things.
Well, I'll tell you what. Before we get... And now... Paul, I think, is going to do some sort of on-the-air interview, if I'm not mistaken.
No, we're going to have fun tonight. I, as a journalist, will just sort of quiz you, and I think some people out there might get a chance to know you a little better, and we'll try to tweak you a little bit. But I should note, in your defense, at those big festivals, those swap meets of television shows where they're hawking all these really terrible things and demented clowns, and the publicists are running at you, and you want to develop a product called Schmooze Guard, which is like shark repellent, but you hit them, and they forget what they're going to say.
It would have to be more powerful than shark repellent.
You need something like the Men in Black
anyway,
have. You know, one of those devices that...
You're survivors. You made it off the carpet. That doesn't happen. Some shows never, ever leave that floor. They go through all this money to promote the show, to dress it up, to gussy it up, to make these beautiful presentations, and they hire all the showgirls.
Right.
And the show never leaves Vegas because no one ever picks it up.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's they're trying to sell it to syndicators, or they're trying to sell it to affiliates, and they don't get off the ground.
Well, sometimes all you need is one station group, one guy that has 200 stations in his fold, so to speak, and he anoints you and he blesses you when you're on the air. You guys went the cable route. Funniest thing is, there's a guy, his solution, especially down south, you got a show that ain't working, take that off the air and put on Andy Griffith.
Right, because he's a big Andy Griffith fan. Hey, Paul, before we get into the meat of the show, why don't you just sort of list your credentials? How long have you been... because we want to make sure you're, legitimate guest. How long have you been the entertainment reporter for CNN?
Well, I'm one of many entertainment reporters for CNN, but I've worked for CNN for about 7 years, 5 in the entertainment unit. Before that, I worked at KEYT in Santa Barbara, California, an ABC affiliate, which, by the way, is one of the greatest little small market stations in the country. And a lot of people are able to hop out of there and go on to bigger and better things. You'd be quite surprised. A lot of good photographers come out of KEYT because it's an NPPA shop.
What does that mean?
Which stresses, the NPPA is a group of photographers or an organization which basically breeds excellence, encourages interplay. It has a seminar, I believe, every year in Oklahoma.
All right, what are you going to start selling Herbalife in 5 minutes, Paul? No one gives a rat's ass about the NPPA.
No one gives a rat's ass about my resume. Let's get to the fun stuff.
Right,
we're talking to stoned 16-year-olds who live in Des Moines.
Give those 16-year-olds more credit.
No. Now, listen.
My relatives might be listening.
And I just want, I hate listening to a radio show and not knowing the guest. Yeah. Okay? And Paul's not a household name, but you would know Paul's work.
Right.
If you have cable, you've seen him. He's interviewed, everyone from, Tom Hanks to the late and great Phil Hartman to just about every major celebrity who's come out with every major movie in the last 5 years, right?
That's right. Adam, you did your homework.
You've been at CNN 5 years?
7.
Would you start listening to him?
You screwed up.
No, he said he'd been there for 7, but he's been doing the entertainment for 5?
Yes, sir.
All right. True?
You are correct, sir. An ode to Phil Hartman.
So, are we going to sort of rock on with the show here?
Yeah,
or?
Let's get some calls that he can grill us in between.
I kind of smell an ambush.
I know,
here.
I saw
No.
But we got to get some calls in.
Tracy?
That's my responsibility.
And by the way, Paul, why don't you do a story for us on CNN?
I'm working on it. But don't start with this unabashed schmoozing. Now I'm going to have to schmooze guard you. It's like you get these pitches and they come out, oh, I have a story. I know you should do a story. There's 2 girls and this guy and they live together in this apartment. Three's Company, right? Oh, no, but it's different.
Right. There's no furling. Tracy.
Yeah?
You're 19.
First, I want to say it's good to hear Paul. My goal is, in life, is to become a broadcast journalist.
Oh, how interesting.
That's great, Tracy.
So,
quick question, Dr. Drew. I brought this up the other day, Tracy. I want to throw this out to everybody who's listening. If you want to get a tongue stud, whatever the case may be, that's fine, but something to think about. I had an intern once upon a time who was talking, and she started slurring her words like Super Snoop.
Yeah.
And apparently the tongue stud thing didn't quite work in her case. So, Dr. Drew, answer this for me. Anybody that wants to get into communications...
Do not get a tongue stud.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, your tongue is going to be a very important instrument for you. And God knows, I don't know of any cases of people having... I have not seen nor read about people getting permanent dysfunction of the tongue after the stud is removed, but I've seen some very nasty infections and problems when the studs are put in.
Ouch. Tracy?
yeah.
I mean, the good news is you can drink all you want.
Yeah, but I bit my tongue before, so
Right.
it would hurt.
If you're a journalist, you can drink all you want.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
see.
Yeah. Tracy, what's your question?
Well, I wanted to answer a personal ad for my mom,
Oh.
and I was wondering if that would be a good idea, or...
Why does your mom need a personal ad answered?
Because she's all by herself, and...
And you're shopping for her?
Well, she doesn't really get out, because we've moved to an area, and all the families on...
Would you want somebody answering personal ads for you to help you make a date?
No, but...
Yeah, not a great way to...
Where's your dad?
He's the white trash in Florida.
Oh, he is?
That
Yeah.
about summarizes it.
And is she lonely? Does she complain about being lonely?
Yeah, because we're all just getting out of the house.
How many all are there?
3.
How old are you guys?
I have a twin who's 19, and then 22-year-old brother.
Amongst you guys, somebody must have friends that have parents that can at least hook her up with some friends. And
Listen,
Where do you live?
Who wants to help their mom get laid, for Christ's sake? That's the worst
That's
idea
not-
I've ever heard in my
I know what
life.
she's saying. Just get friends.
I'm reading between the lines. You get her a little schnauzer or something, and then you buy her cable, and all the 3 of you chip in $10 a month. She gets the cable, and that's it.
We have
She's
8
done.
dogs.
She has how many dogs?
8 dogs.
That's okay. That's
2
fine.
cats.
Then that's
what,
enough.
What about my
She's
idea?
happy.
What about friends of friends? Parents of friends?
We moved, and there's just we've never really...
Where are you?
I'm in the middle of nowhere. It's the
Where?
very middle of California. Merced.
There's a lot of people in Merced.
No, there's not.
It's not nobody.
I don't know how many people are in
Well,
this.
get out this summer. If she has an interest in dogs, maybe there's a dog show you can go to.
Maybe
Maybe
she hates dogs.
They're all mutts.
Oh,
they're all mutts.
Didn't you say she
Yeah.
hates dogs?
How about the state fair?
Does she hate dogs?
Maybe she'll meet someone at the state fair.
What am I supposed to do? Go? Well, then she's too shy, and I just want to try to get her out.
Well, take her out then. Go and take her around people and get her out of her shell a little bit, but don't intrude too far, okay?
All right.
Take her to the Modesto
What if
A's
I ask
baseball
her?
game.
What if I ask her?
Ask her what?
Go ask her. Okay,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
fine.
Ask her what you can do to help.
You get her a vibrator and a centipede game, and she called it life. She's past menopause, or at least in the throes of it.
What,
That's
is that,
it
you supposed
for
to
dating.
die at that point? Or?
You're not interested in sex after menopause, are you?
Once her communications career gets going, she'll be able to introduce Mom to a lot of interesting people.
I think, sometimes I think that it's not that women lose interest at menopause, that men start dropping out about that point, and women are relieved not to have that burden any longer.
Right.
And so they don't bother with it.
Sarah,
Yes.
you're 18.
Now Viagra has suddenly upped the stakes a little bit.
What's going on there, Sarah?
Well, let's see.
Sarah, we talked to you last night, didn't we?
Yeah, for a few seconds.
Yeah. Remember her?
No.
Well, first of all, I want to say that you two deserve so much more credit than you actually get.
I know, that's why Paul's here.
I agree. I'm going to give you my rating as an interview. I'll give it to you right now. You want to know what it is?
No, we're not
You
interested.
Yes, you are. You don't.
What?
You want to know who you're better than?
Who?
Got you.
Come on, who?
Who are you better than?
If you say Byron Allen, I'm climbing over the desk and beating you with the mic stand.
Honestly, I might hammer you later, but you guys are probably both about a 9 on a 10 scale.
Wow.
Now,
that's
Adam,
solid.
I've heard that you've been going on too long and getting into esoteric subjects, but
Just because I did 20 minutes on Sloppy Joe's the other night,
Yes.
why we can't bring back the Bell Beefer over at
you're
Taco
both-
Bell?
Hey, you're getting set up here for the ambush.
no, you're both honest.
on.
You're both forthright. I'm dead serious now. You are both very strong interviews.
Yeah.
You're refreshing. You don't have canned answers. You have canned jokes sometimes that you go off onto.
Oh, please, I do not.
Yeah, once in a while.
That's
ultimate insult.
ridiculous.
That is an insult for this man.
I'd have bust your behind for that. All right. Now, so
Paul, you listen to the show way too much if you hear him repeat himself.
Sarah is 18. Sarah, we spoke to last night for just a second, but her problem was too big to squeeze into the
go
time
ahead.
that we had.
Tell us again.
Okay, a few months before I turned 17, I started having sex. And since then, I'm now 18. I've had sex with 10 people, and I've never really had a relationship with any of them. It was just all sex.
How did you feel after these relationships?
I never felt, I was friends with them all, and I still am, and I never really felt bad about it.
Did you feel anything?
Not really. I was, after I'd have sex with them, I was always the one to leave, or I'd...
Leave? Why do you think you would leave?
I don't know.
You mean leave the scene or leave the relationship?
No, leave, the place.
So you just want to get out of there right away?
First one out of the van?
Right. It was because you always hear about how guys are the ones to leave in the middle of the night, but it was always me, and these guys were a lot
What was
older.
that impulse, though?
How much older were the guys, by the way?
Well, the first one, I was 16, he was 25, and then...
You want to do some gambling?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the
But
last
we do?
one was
Yeah.
All right, that's enough. Let's
36.
gamble.
I just
then.
want to know one thing. What was the impulse to leave? What was that feeling?
I was finished with them, and I was I don't know.
What was the feeling you walked out the door with? Triumph? Disgust?
I guess it was probably triumph more than disgust.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm going with burning and some discomfort and a little nausea. Sarah,
Yes.
hang on. We're going to gamble on your past.
Okay.
You know how that goes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is going to drop us a point in Paul's interview.
No, that's
scale.
okay.
Paul, do you have $1
Sure.
on you? Do you have $2? Because I'm running a little light tonight. I can run out in the car and get some change.
No, we're fine.
Are you all right? Ooh.
Wait, he sees
got
a
a
picture of
dollar.
Abraham Lincoln.
Hey, you know
A
you're in
five,
trouble when you're 34. You open your wallet, there's $1 in there, and you cream in your pants. Oh, yes.
Startled.
$1.
Hey, listen, there was more shock than I.
Okay, $3 is out here. Drew, you want to start? Oh, let me explain to Paul.
I know how you play.
Paul listens to the show. That's
I know,
what I
it's
love
scary.
about him. Obviously, Sarah has some difficulties in relationships as an 18-year-old. The question is, are you hearing that, Drew, or is that just me?
No.
Our question is what led to this? What was her past like? Alcoholism in the family, physical abuse, verbal abuse, Sexual abuse. Drew? You look stumped there.
Yeah, this is a little bit different than we're used to hearing. I suspect this is going to be something interesting, and so I'm probably going to miss it. So I'm going to go take a stab. I'm going to say a mentally ill father who was around but was a source of...
Mentally ill.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right.
Like
that's good specific information. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Mentally ill dad.
All right.
That's specific enough.
Drew's face was extremely intense, by the way. I've never seen him furrow his brow like that and rub his temples.
Yeah, he was really thinking. It was like he was on the toilet. Paul, do you
I'll go with
a guess?
Absent and or abusive father.
What kind of abuse?
A little broad for...
You can go for specific. Physical abuse,
an
sexual
educated
abuse.
man.
Little broad.
Well, everyone's dad's absent and or abusive. It's either one or the other. If he stays there, he abuses her. If not, he leaves.
Come on. You're saying physical abuse. What you're
go with physical
no, not
abuse.
necessarily. I'm saying that there's
Emotional
some
abuse.
role model problem there, and I don't know what it is. You can have my $1 back.
Oh,
all right, let him have it.
Venture a guess, would you? You can't get the guy to shut up until you try ask him to talk.
I'm not going to launch a scud at this poor person.
The type of abuse.
Oh, don't worry about Sarah. Believe me, this is helping.
I mean, physical abuse, I think, is a good bet.
Okay.
Yeah, physical abuse and or absence.
Okay, I'm going with standby alcoholic dad.
Sure.
Is that good?
Yeah.
All right. So you have dad who's a little nutty.
And there may be something with the whole thing. Maybe mom too. We may be twisted here. But
Interesting.
We'll
We've
see.
had a few of those lately. All right, Sarah.
Yes.
We got $3 riding on your abused past.
Okay, well, you guys, I'll get your $1 back. It was, my dad and I have, like, a really, really good relationship, but it's my mom.
Oh.
So I
We
guess,
apologize profusely to
Drew
your
gets a
father.
quarter for that.
yeah.
What's the deal with mom?
Well, like, I don't really remember, like, my younger years, I guess, but my mom, like, when I was probably, like, around 12, I had younger siblings, and I kind of raised them because my mom was an alcoholic. And so she was always, in her bedroom, like, doing whatever she did. But
Any insanity in the family?
no insanity.
Just alcoholism.
The alcoholism.
It's its own form.
I remember last night you were talking about the eating disorder, and I was bulimic for about 3 years.
You have a different kind of... You remember last night that was a particular syndrome. Remember
Right.
with the parents that were over-involved. This is more the result of having been raised in a chaotic
But I mean,
relationship with your mom.
After a while, then I left my mom's house, and now I live with my dad, and so...
And dad never, not on any mood-stabilizing drugs, never
dad
barks at
has.
the moon, doesn't think
No,
Caroline in the city's funny.
This is the other way I was thinking, that the mom's gone. Just gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did get the alcohol. All right.
Okay.
I don't get anything.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah.
Yeah.
We're done gambling. Are we done with Sarah?
Yeah, we all lost.
Should we just leave the pot out?
Yeah, well, I'm sure there'll be another opportunity.
Okay. So what do we tell Sarah to do?
Well,
Drew?
Sarah, do you see,
Weave your magic.
I just don't understand, like, why I would be so, I guess, callous and...
Detached, detached. And why you need that sort of contact on that level in order to be validated in some
But
way.
I've thought about that, and it's not like validation. It's like I'm not addicted to it, and it's not like I need it. I can
Yeah.
go, I can be fine without it, but it's something I like to do, but I don't know.
Yeah, but listen, something you like to do that you don't enjoy means you're doing it for validation.
Are you doing it for something? Something there that you're
If
not
you
in
keep
touch
doing
with.
something that you don't particularly enjoy, then you're doing it for a reason other than enjoyment.
Have you had any stable relationships?
Not with, like, a boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah, see, I think that's, that's sort of where the problems are, is your ability to feel good about yourself and to be stable and have a whole sense of yourself in a relationship.
All right, let's
And
wrap it
this
up.
is just a way. This is a way of gratifying some of those old primitive impulses that you can sort of get some relief for a few minutes by being with another person in a quasi-intimate setting, but not really being genuinely involved with the person.
Paul, hold on a second. You know what I like about Drew? This is why we're such an awesome team. When I say let's wrap it up,
I start.
he slows down a little.
He means this when I
and,
say
and,
wrap it up.
and adds more syllables to
Yeah.
the
But
sentence.
But we're going to get into that as well.
And when he says wrap it up, of course, he has to interrupt and comment for 12 minutes. So,
All right. But,
look,
play fill in the blank.
But Sarah, this is not something that's easily overcome, right? A history, a lifetime of a disturbed relationship with mom is gonna necessarily impact on your relationships. Our usual sort of advice in this sort of situation is to maybe stop doing those things that don't seem quite right to you and start trying to have some stable relationships and experience yourself in that setting.
all right. So if you can't be cured, here's our motto on the show here, Paul. Even though it doesn't sound like a motto because it's going to be lengthy and long-winded, and it's not going to rhyme or anything.
Wrap it up, Adam.
Hey,
Adam.
shut Drew's mic off, would you, Mike?
Adam, I have a
That's
question
just
for
about
you.
enough of him. But let me just finish this one quick thought, Paul. If you can't actually not be an a-hole, at least stop acting like one. Meaning, or if you can't stop the, thinking about the destructive behavior, or you're not evolved enough, or you haven't gotten enough therapy to actually become that person, at least stop doing the things that person would have done. And that can slow things up long enough for you, so you don't get pregnant, so you don't get herpes, so you get a little therapy. And meanwhile, you haven't amassed this record of 700 guys in 18 months. All right, so go ahead, Paul.
Question. Okay, for you.
Yes.
Drew would be better at his job if he would just blank.
Stay home? Yeah. All right. Well, what are you saying, Drew?
No,
The mic's
like,
off.
give Drew a crack. Adam would be better at his job if he would just blank.
Calm down.
Okay, I've had enough of you. All right. I have to throw a fit. We're going to go to break. We'll come back.
I want a chance to answer that question after I've thought about it a little bit.
All right, I'm going to think about that, Drew. It's a very good question. And Drew, why don't you, here's Drew's Achilles heel, though, Paul. Watch how much Drew screws this up. Sell the next call, Drew.
Laura, who's 15, wants to know why guys worry so much over whether or not they are gay. Just because they say a guy looks good. I'm not done.
Okay, I'll give you a 4.
Right.
You have 5 seconds.
The same tomorrow night when the boys from Blink 182 come in here. Paul Vercammen.
For a guy that's been to my house and sort of lapsed into what you got to do with that hardwood floor is.
Paul,
It's amazing.
I
that
don't
you
want to
can't
say
my
Paul
last name.
Vercammen.
Because that's what we've been saying.
Because you don't take pictures with a camera or fix your camshaft.
Paul
Camera.
Shut up. Paul Vercammen.
Yeah.
Right.
You're really embarrassing me, Adam.
I'm sorry. Paul Vercammen is here from CNN. He is the entertainment reporter. There are more than one, but there's only one, really, and that is our buddy Paul. Paul is going to run a bit of an interview on us tonight, as well as jump in on these calls.
Now, you already asked us a question.
Yes.
Yes, the last question was for both of you. Adam would be better at his job if he would only blank, or Drew would be better if he would only
So
blank.
Adam would be, the blank would be learn to read, or just read,
Okay.
and stay in therapy.
Oh, that is so condescending, Drew. I was at the therapist today.
Oh,
Yes.
hallelujah.
Wise ass. And please. Drew, it really hurts me that you
come on.
you're so insistent that I go to therapy. I said to Drew like 2 months ago.
You know why?
Just let me finish this story, would you? I said to Drew, hey, Drew, I almost said it in passing. Oh, by the way, speaking of therapy, I just got back into therapy. And Drew went, yes, yes, yes. Yes. I mean, he did it like the biggest fan of the Bulls in the world last night would have been celebrating after
You're starting
Jordan.
to sound like Shirley MacLaine in being there.
He was really psyched, and I took that as I was very hurt by that, Drew.
Well, here's why. Because you have these great sensibilities and you have lots of insight and understanding, but when it gets down to real feelings, you just put a layer of BS in the way of it, and you have trouble.
Please.
And your sense of how therapy works and that kind of connection and stuff is still not hardened, not mature yet.
Don't forget, Adam, you get your crack at
Yeah,
Drew.
no, go ahead and get me. All right.
Drew
Well,
would be better if he would.
Drew would be better. He'd be a better co-host if he would summarize and realize that he cannot help everybody and say something once. If the person doesn't hear him, they're not going to hear him the second, third, and 25th time he says it. Just say it once and move on. Drew has such a sense of responsibility that he feels that it's negligent for him to sort of label anyone as someone who's not able to utilize his information. Even if they're drunk and 15 and don't speak good English, he still is going to put such a fine point on whatever his medical explanation is that the audience slowly is bored to tears.
I put the B-O in boring.
He puts the B-O in boring, and I put the F-U in funny. That is our saying here on the show. All right. So, essentially, my partner, he's too thorough. He's too good.
Boring.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like if Drew was a mechanic, he would take an hour and a half checking the oil because he'd want to look at the stick with the car in many different positions from many different angles, and he'd want you to come back the next day when the barometer reading was a little bit different, which could have affected the viscosity. The reality is it's just the oil. Let's move on. We got a life to lead here. Laura.
Hey.
You're 13.
No, I'm 15.
Yeah, you know, it was weird. I was looking right at it, and it said 15, and 13 just came out.
His Tourette's was active again.
Yeah, you're
Well,
effing 13.
Let's go on.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to say you guys are finally back on in San Francisco
Oh, yeah.
after like 3 weeks.
Yes, we heard about that.
Yeah, I was devastated.
Are you going up this week?
Yeah, I am. San Jose, actually. I'm going up there Friday.
You're kidding. I'm leaving for Italy on Friday.
I'm going to Italy on Saturday.
No,
Oh,
you're
my
not.
God.
It's the
I
where is
really
Ann?
wanted to go to that.
The Live 105?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And all those bands that you mentioned, I'm missing them too. But
Yeah.
okay. So anyways, I have a really quick comment and a really quick question. Okay, first of all, Adam, I just thought you'd kind of enjoy this because you're always saying how people like with body piercings can't be employed except at video stores, you know?
That's right.
But I read this thing that employees at Starbucks and Blockbuster are only allowed to have one piercing in each ear.
Well, Blockbuster doesn't really count because they don't sell any of that fetish stuff or any of the pornography. They're sort of a corporate video store.
Disney-ified.
Right. I'm talking more your Odyssey or Beta Barn or, one of these places.
Okay, well, whatever. Starbucks kind of surprised me. But okay, my question is that I was just wondering, like, why guys are so worried that they're gay just by admitting that another guy is good looking.
In other words, why can't guys discuss with women, is another guy attractive or not?
Yeah, because,
First of all, guys really don't understand that.
I don't
They
think
can't
guys
get
are
that.
equipped.
Yeah, they just can't get that.
We had a conversation like this the other day. Listen, women will dress for women. I think it's absolutely true. You get a matching pair of pumps and a skirt, and you notice it on a friend. I don't think Drew or Adam or we don't know what the other guy's wearing. I don't walk in and say, gee, Adam, now that is a cute belt.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, those vertical stripes really are narrowing, Paul. They make your ass look slender.
So we're kind of oblivious to such stuff.
And then to
Unless
Paul,
the guy looks like an idiot, in which case you'll pounce on him. Like if he's trying to get away with some bad cowboy boots or something,
Sure.
then it's you call him Hoss all night.
And he's got a self-inflicted wedgie from some bad Guess jeans.
But
Right.
guys do indeed, and what you're picking up on, do indeed have a very sort of flimsy ego when it comes to their sexual identity. They're threatened very easily. They're afraid that they might be homosexual. They might be perceived as homosexual as though that would be the ultimate horror to them. And I don't know why that is really in our culture. That never really made sense to me. Why? I mean, except to say that there's ample evidence that most humans are born with bisexual impulses,
Here's
and that those are carefully squashed in our culture. And so to admit that those are there is very treacherous territory for a male.
Let me tell you the guy's version of he's good looking. A guy will not come out and say another guy is a very attractive man. He will say, I bet that guy gets more trim than he can shake a stick at. See, that's code.
Yeah.
That's a guy saying the other guy's attractive. He
Right.
converts it into poontang.
Either that or something about how you could kick his ass or something. Right?
Or he's a stud.
Yeah.
Because he hit 327 with 7 home runs. And
Right.
Right. Either you have to get laid or you got to hit a ball or you got to do something. But it usually is converted into how many women you
Action.
could potentially
Yeah.
have sex with.
Yeah, and it's some sort of, isn't that it's converted into a projection into the environment. It's what you could do with that in the environment,
Right.
which is a male attribute.
Right. And then as you get older, it wears off.
As does everything.
Guys get older. Yeah, they go, hey, he's a good-looking kid. Look at him. Very, very attractive. The ladies go nuts for this kid.
All right, question.
Paul, do you have another question
well,
for us?
I had a take. I'm proud. I had the belt analogy. How was that?
Yeah, it was solid. What was the bell?
I don't know. So let him go with it.
Okay, go ahead.
That's okay. Listen, here's a question for you now. Worst guest ever. Context.
Ooh.
Annoying, not helpful, never want him or her back.
I think we have two that we would probably agree on.
Mm-hmm.
You say I'll
Okay, I'll go Jackie Mason
Rodney Dangerfield.
and your wife. Oh, I mean Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, those are the two we both.
Yeah, who else? Now
Oh.
oh,
Except that
thank
was.
you, Mike.
But no, but they were. That was a lively
And listen,
event. I mean,
those were the Morrell twins who were in the Playboy's Busty Vixens 3 video, and one of them had her top off almost entirely, the entire show. So I can't, in good conscience, label somebody a bad guest whose top was off and who had a D cup. But some
the
of the
Carolla test.
Right. That did save her. Rodney Dangerfield, horrible man. Jackie Mason. Who else aren't we real fond
Well,
of?
what made them bad guests? Were they ornery? Were they not helpful to the listeners? Were
they will not.
brutal?
They will not drop their shtick. People that will not be honest. What did Ann say?
I was trying to think. It is so funny. Ann said Exene Cervenka from the band X. But the thing about Exene is just mean.
Yeah, mean is different than this. These guys were just. They were.
I mean, we were arguing all night long, but it was a relatively entertaining
She was
show.
totally unwilling to get along with anybody.
Yeah, but she was okay.
When you come on a show where you have conversation.
No. But look, the other guys.
She was horrible.
The other guys.
She's a mean person, but I don't think she's a bad guest. Do you know what I'm saying,
I
Ann?
think she is.
See, I think a bad guest on this show is somebody who is not present as a person. Somebody who doesn't show us a piece of themselves. And Jackie Mason wanted bagels.
Jackie was pissed, and this is not just a rabbi joke,
This
but
is the truth.
Jackie was teed off that there weren't bagels here at 10:45 in the
And he
evening.
wouldn't do anything except parroting stuff about his show and when it was playing. He refused to answer anything. And Ronnie, he looked like he was trying to get involved. He really did. I think, especially when he was on a TV show, he tried to, but he just didn't have the capacity.
No, Rodney wouldn't do a promo because he had to get his hair cut.
Yeah.
This is one of the greatest things ever. When we do the TV show, when we're done taping the TV show, Drew and I immediately bolt out of there. Drew gets on the phone with his wife, and I do a pile of cocaine in my dressing room. But for whatever reasons, we both launch off the stage because we can't stand being on that stage any longer than we have to be. But they always say to the guest, the producer comes out, Stoner Stanley, and says, "That was great. Thank you very much for participating. If you could just give us literally 45 seconds, we'll do a quick promo. You say, 'Hi, this is Rodney Dangerfield.'"
Hi, this is Rodney Dangerfield.
Jesus, Mike's good. Yeah. "Watch me tomorrow night on Loveline." Then we do one more where they say, "Watch me coming up next on Loveline," and you go home. Yes. Dangerfield plugged that turd of a movie. You probably talked to him about it when it came out, too.
Meet Wally Sparks.
Wally Sparks.
Yes, we did it at Rodney's house.
Which I never saw, but I heard was just a complete pile. He plugged the hell out of that movie on our show for an hour, and when it came time for him to do a promo, which would have taken an additional 45 seconds, he said, "I got to get my hair cut." This was Saturday at 4 in the afternoon. So he couldn't spend the extra 35 seconds to let his barber wait after we just plugged his turd all night long. And people have a lot of reverence for Dangerfield in the business. I don't know if he has mafia ties or people are scared to say anything about him, but the guy is fairly despicable as far as I can tell, and he just seems like an old sweaty turd to me. He really does.
Can you tell us how you truly feel?
He did what?
He did send us some beautiful roses the next day.
Oh, he did?
For the radio show.
That was Ricky was here.
Well, he was plugging.
Oh, Adam was here, too.
Was he?
He was plugging his wife's
business.
Jungle Roses.
Yeah, the African roses.
Yeah, and he got pissed at me at one point because somebody said to him, some caller came in and said, "Define love," or what is your explanation of attraction or something? And Rodney went on about this long-winded beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and when you're in love, and it's more than a physical thing, it's an emotional thing. Meanwhile, he's got a wife
22
who's 22 and a half. He's like 79 at this point. He's 60 years her senior, and I don't think this was based on all the things that he was speaking of. I
think Rodney's wife is about 40.
This was 16 years ago she was on the show.
I asked one more question. We'll go to break.
Okay, best guest. You
All right.
just love this guest.
All
They
right.
were
We'll go
insightful.
after the break.
bright.
After the break?
Yeah.
That's good radio, Drew. That is a good radio impulse.
Thank you.
Rarely has one of those.
Golf clap.
We'll be back.
Loveline. Be right back in a minute.
Where are you taking them?
You're going to ask questions about Lycus?
Pot.
No.
Oh, that's Spot. Oh, I see. Yes, we're the favorite hosts. Thank you very
so
much.
we were talking about, in your minds, your best guests.
Okay.
People that you just adore. They were good. They were insightful.
I had
they
two
were witty.
favorite.
Let me take care of business for just 1 second here. Phone number 1-800-LOVE-191. Fax number 310-854-4455. Blink 182 tomorrow night. And Paul is a guy we met a couple of years ago. Go ahead.
Quite a ringing endorsement.
I'm a pro. You notice me? I'm minding my P's and Q's in front of Paul. I'm trying to be a little more host-esque tonight. Okay.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
I liked Tom Arnold and Meredith Brooks.
Meredith Brooks?
Yeah, I thought she was great. Remember
From the TV show?
Yeah, I thought she was excellent.
You know, it was funny. Every time I label someone's work junk or them a hack, I turn out to really like the person. And Meredith Brooks had that hit about 6 or 8 months ago with She's a Bitch, She's a Lover. Yes. It was kind of like a racy douche commercial song. Yeah. It was very derivative and just sounded like something you try to do when you're trying to do a bad song.
You dissed that show weekly for a while.
Oh, thank God she didn't listen to me going on the radio. But, yeah, Meredith Brooks turned out to be really nice.
Tom Arnold is a terrific interview. Honest guy, fun.
Honest is the key. Honest and open. And that's what makes him a great... And he's had some treatment. He's got some pathology, and he can talk about it.
Oh, boy, can he talk about it. Yeah. He was talking about going back to his hometown in Indiana, was it, or somewhere?
And confronting his sexual abuser.
Who was a businessman in the community at this point, and...
It was his babysitter when he was 8 or something.
Ouch.
And tried to confront the guy, and the guy wouldn't have anything to do with it, so he got some of his farm hands, he said, to like put posters up all over town that this guy was a molester. Meanwhile, this guy held some sort of position in the town.
Was it a post office or something? It was something...
I don't know if he was an elected official or he was just an attorney or, you know, how it is. You're living in a small town, and this guy has a large business or holds some sort of position in this small town. And your worst nightmare comes true. You molest an 8-year-old Tom Arnold. He goes to L.A., he works out some issues, he gets a little therapy, and he shows up with $1 million in his pocket at age 42, and he's going to ruin your life.
You mentioned Meredith Brooks. Anybody else, Adam?
That's why I had the kid I molested killed. I was just not going to chance that.
Who else?
Well, I was talking to my neighbor tonight, JJ, and Poe's name came up.
Oh,
we love Poe.
Yeah, Poe's great.
And, of course... the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and Dickie.
We have a lot of great guys.
The guys from Everclear are great. And there's a bunch of actors, and it's like we get this question a lot, and I always feel bad because I always feel like there's a bunch of people we're leaving off.
How can you learn out?
Bobcat's great, and I mean, all... no, I'm not saying Darren from Goldfinger. Although he did spread his cheeks.
We did a Bobcat story last week.
What's
on
that?
his new game show.
You did a Bobcat story?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, he did? Yeah, he was
Bobcat asked me on camera if I would say the name of his show on the air, which I did. Bobcat's Big Ass Show. But talk about editing.
Really?
Well, we had to be clever in some instances. I mean, he's got people stripping in shadow. When we were there during a set visit, one of his wingding dancers fell out of her top.
Oh, really?
So we cut around that. Yeah, I know. You want to see the raw video.
Yes.
And what else? It's just a spanking with a fish, etc., etc.
What the hell's the matter with our producers?
The people who produce that show produce our show as well. I mean, produce a Loveline, produce Bobcat.
They used our set. All that stuff was our Loveline set in pieces.
Right.
It is.
Right. The TV show, Ann wants me to make clear. We don't have a producer for the radio show.
Nor a set.
I won't say what Ann said now. Claire.
Yeah?
You're 13.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Okay, well, like 4 months ago, I don't know, I'm not, like, clinically depressed or anything, but I was, like, thinking of suicide and stuff, and then I went on...
Let me just stop you, Claire. I mean, if you seriously have a plan for suicide, that is about as serious as depression can get, okay? It doesn't get any more serious than that. It's a life-threatening
But I never,
condition.
like, I'm not clinically, like...
Claire?
Yeah?
What is your definition of clinically depressed?
Well, I don't know, like, no one, I've never, like, seen...
All right, if you should be. If your life is endangered by depression, that is as serious as depression becomes. Okay?
Well, how serious are you about committing suicide?
Well, that was like 4 months ago, but then, then I went on this, it was around confirmation, and so I went on this retreat, and then when I came back, it kind of like didn't seem like it was that bad.
Your depression.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the confirmation?
It was a confirmation retreat, for church.
She's Catholic.
Oh, okay. So after making a lanyard and doing a few laps in the pool, the depression went away?
It was more like, I don't know, I don't know how to explain it.
Well, maybe somebody at this confirmation retreat was able to address some of these issues and just talk to you about
There are
them.
many connections that people learn how to make to help them deal with problems, and whether it's a relationship with a higher power, relationship with peers, relationship with people in authority, these relationship with parents or loved ones. I mean, these are all extremely important. In fact, the way that humans heal emotionally. So it doesn't surprise me that would help you. Okay?
Okay.
Be very careful. Understand, depression kills 17% of the 17 million people that have this disease. Be very careful.
But if Claire still feels like she's having these bouts with it, maybe not as strong, I don't think it's a bad idea to go talk to a counselor at school or one of your Klein Bottle Advocates for Youth if you have one of those organizations in your area.
Yes.
Did you, well, Drew, you went to Drew went to private school. He went to the Little Lord Fauntleroy School for Hemophiliac Albinos.
He never repeats jokes.
It's always such a mouthful, but they played 7.5-man football, and Drew wore a clip-on ascot for his first 3 years there.
Monogram sweater.
That's right.
Patent leather shoes.
Carried around a tennis racket, even though he didn't play. But Paul, did you go to a school where normal kids went?
I went to both. I went to Catholic school until 8th grade. Then I went to high school, Santa Barbara High Public School.
Oh, what a sane environment that Santa Barbara would be to grow up in.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know what it did for Paul. But at least he's got a healthy tan. But did you ever talk to your counselors? I mean, my whole goal in high school and junior high, for that matter, was to steer clear of any sort of counseling.
But I think that's changed dramatically, and I think that where we used to have the counselor that would say to you, if you're thinking of going to communications, why don't you look at Grossmont Junior College?
Yeah.
Now they have counselors that can actually sit down and talk with you about issues. I think we've gotten smarter about this as a society.
All right. Well, maybe we have. It's been a long time. And as a matter of fact, I still haven't picked up my diploma from high school because I owed the book room $19.95 for.
Now, there were
Read the
other
People.
counselors, quote unquote, that you didn't want to see. You didn't want to. I like this man very much, but you didn't want to see Mr. Blakeney.
Oh.
He caught you throwing a tennis ball down the hall to your buddy Hector Lopez. I mean, that was an issue, counselor. That's a you're in trouble counselor.
Right.
Give us another question.
Oh, another question. Just to try to figure a little bit out about you guys.
Mm-hmm.
A couple favorite movies.
Ooh, this is good. I'll tell you what. In the spirit of doing halfway decent radio, which is normally something we completely abandon by 10 minutes into the show, why don't we tease this question a little, and then we'll come back.
All right.
I was going to hit you with books, movies, and bands or artists.
All right, we'll do all those as we get back.
We can make them quick, too.
Books,
Okay.
Movies.
and music.
All right.
Okay, we'll learn a little bit about these guys.
Before we go to break, I'm going to hit you, Paul, since you are an entertainment reporter, with the Man Show slogan. The Man Show is that ABC pilot I did.
We chatted about that a little bit.
You ready?
All right.
You've come a long way, baby. Now get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. Huh? Wouldn't that look good on a billboard?
I'm going to bet Stripes. We haven't had this conversation, but I think Stripes is in Adam's top 3.
Oh. Well, that's interesting. Drew, do you know what Stripes is?
Yeah.
Who's in it?
Maybe not.
Who's in it? Okay. Drew has not The Shining, everybody.
Listen, there's 12 years of my life that are just absent.
Okay.
If it was 1978 to 1988,
Is that when you were...
that's it, gone.
Well, what happened? Med school?
Med school training.
He
And
was into the amyl nitrate at that stage, too, I think. Okay, Drew. We'll go to break. Paul will hang with us, and we'll answer the question, what are our favorite movies?
Oh, please. It's Loveline 106.7.
It is Loveline. Paul Vercammen is here. Paul's a entertainment reporter at CNN. And Paul's asked us some interesting questions, a little bit of a on-air interview tonight. Tomorrow night, Blink 182 is going to be in here. Say Ferris will be in here on Wednesday, and then we will round it out on Thursday by having the Deftones in here. Paul's a guy we've been friendly with for a couple of years, and this is the first time we've had him on the show. And his last question before we went to break was our favorite movies and or books. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We got to go to that.
This is so they can gain a greater understanding of you, including those new Live 105 listeners.
Oh, See, Paul already knows more than we do about radio. Yeah, we were on KOME for quite some time, and we've switched over to Live 105. That's over in the Bay Area there. And we're glad to be on. As a matter of fact, I'm going up there on Friday to do an on-stage and have some sex with some underage groupies. So, we'll take a little top of the hour, 10-second break here, and then we will... Drew, do you have to make those gestures while I'm doing this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Your Royal Highness.
That's better. All right. Wait, what do I like to be called?
Uh-oh.
Your Majesty.
Oh, Your Majesty. Yes, Your Majesty. That's
there you go.
Grand Poobah.
And we will be back in 10 seconds.
This is Loveline on
Radio Station.
Carolla QFM, Pasadena, Los Angeles.
The world famous K-Rock.
All right. We's back. I have no idea what that gesture meant, Paul.
It meant, let me just interject and say that you can learn a lot about somebody if you know what some of their favorite movies are, books, and or bands.
Okay. So, shall we get into this?
We may agree on one movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Porky's too?
No.
No.
Except for that.
Okay. Well, it's not on your list?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Tess, Room with a View, Howard's End, and the French Lieutenant's Concubine.
Just because it's the first movie you ever saw.
Steve McQueen, Dustin Hoffman, epic, true story, or at least loosely based on a true story. Excellent acting and a real adventure. For those of you who like prison movies, oh yes, thank you.
You like Bridge over the River Kwai also?
Yeah, it was good, but Papillon was a great movie, and to see Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman age about 35 years. Okay, Love and Death, that
was one of mine.
One of Woody Allen's.
We both agree on that.
Earlier movies, and people when they think Woody Allen and they think comedy, they think Bananas, they think Take the Money and Run.
Love and Death.
Sleepers.
They think Sleeper, but. Love and Death was a brilliant movie, and joke for joke, I think, is Woody Allen's funniest movie.
I agree.
All right. Another Woody Allen movie, Crimes and Misdemeanors.
Oh, yeah.
This is an excellent, poignant, well-acted, beautifully written movie.
Adam using poignant.
Yes. What's that mean, Drew?
Don't worry.
All right.
All right, now books.
Books?
Books on tape or books that were converted to movies in your case.
Oh, okay. I read The Phantom Toll Booth when I was in the 6th grade. I enjoyed that.
Good.
What movies had I read? I read a book that Shelby Coffey, the Times editor, gave me called The Sweet Science. It was a book on boxing by a guy named Liebling, I believe it was. And I read Nobody Here Gets Out Alive, the Jim Morrison book, or the Doors book. That was an interesting book. Those are the only books I've ever read.
Is that Danny Sugarman wrote? Is that? No.
Maybe.
Love and Death.
Yes, these are your movies.
Love and Death. I'm trying to remember the name of this. Was it Modern Times, Charlie Chaplin's film about the factory workers? I thought that was a great film. And then it's so hard beyond that. You know,
okay, that's fine. Go to the books.
War and Peace.
Please stop trying to sound
no,
heady.
Because you know what I love. I bought you a book on tape. I think Brothers Karamazov, which used to be my favorite. And I've been so many years since I've read it. War and Peace, when I read recently. So.
Okay, that's it. One movie, one book.
If you wanted to name your favorite band or solo artist,
for me it would have to be John Hyatt. That would be my favorite solo artist. Drew,
it's hard for me.
You were in the Two Live Crew for a while, weren't you?
And then the Go-Go's.
Biohazard.
Hey, Drew.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound preachy here, but you ever think about writing down a couple of these answers during the long commercial break so that perhaps you're somewhat prepared?
I was thinking during the break. I didn't have to write them down.
But you don't have anything now.
I didn't have anything during the break to write down.
Okay. All right, it's a very valid point.
Safe to say, then, that music is just not Drew's bag.
Drew likes opera.
There's a lot of opera and things that people would be interested in hearing about here.
Okay. Are you uncomfortable, Drew?
No, it's just hard. It's hard to narrow it down. I mean, I could go on all day about things I like, but to say to make it interesting and the best.
Okay, I would add a Albert Brooks movie, Defending Your Life, and possibly Lost in America to my list, and a surprise one, Parenthood. This was a very good movie.
I agree with you.
It wouldn't seem like it would be, but it was an excellent movie. Baby, you're 17.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Okay, I have 2 kids already,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm due with another one on the way.
You're 17.
Yeah, and my boyfriend, he's 22, and, like, we break up all the time, and I move out, and then
Is
he's
he the
like...
father of the other 2 children?
Yeah,
He's father of 3 children.
there's 3 children altogether.
They're all his.
They're all here.
Why not a marriage here? A family?
I don't know. We talked about it, but, he just doesn't want to now.
Well, maybe after you put out a soccer team, what is that, 5 or 6?
Yeah.
Does that include the goalie? Yeah, then
11.
maybe he'll come to his senses. Well, just one side.
Well, I don't know. He just, like, I move out all the time, and then he comes back and gets me, and he's like, well, things are going to change. But the problem is he doesn't help me with the kids.
Uh-huh.
And,
Does he ever beat you or strike you?
oh, no. No. It's just, he goes out, and it's like, when you going to be back? And he's like, I don't know. He's not even home tonight,
Where, we understand this guy's not Bill Cosby here, baby, but when you leave, what do you do with the kids?
I take my kids with me.
And where do you go?
My mom's.
Oh, okay.
Where's your dad?
My dad lives, like, 4 away. I haven't talked to my dad since I was maybe 13.
That is shocking.
Yeah.
Drew, did you have any idea?
None.
No. You're dumbfounded, aren't you?
No. Of course, this is your dad did the same thing your boyfriend's doing.
Yeah.
You want to have your kids raised by the same, with a similar relationship with their father?
Yes, that's why, I try to work it out with him and
Yeah, but
everything.
you've found a carbon copy of your father. Trying to change him doesn't usually work.
How far along are you on your 3rd pregnancy?
I'm about a month and a half.
Mm-hmm. Are you thinking about adoption, perhaps?
No,
No. Why not?
because it was, I made the child, I'm going to raise him.
But there are lots of other people that may be better able to
Even
raise
if the
a child.
kid turns out to be a serial killer or a prostitute, you're going to stand by that.
Yes,
God bless you.
that's my kid, that's my blood and everything.
Yeah,
And
you think you'd want to do what's best for the child, and sometimes there are ways that you can make life better for the child by giving them to somebody who's better prepared to be a parent.
Hey, baby.
Yes.
That's a good point, Drew. Let me ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
When you have your kid, what do? Go to the hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you pay for it?
My dad pays for it.
He does?
Yes, my stepfather.
Wow, he's got some money, this guy.
I don't know.
How do you pay for your kids now? I mean, what do you do?
I work.
You do?
Yes.
And what do you do with your kids during the day when
my
you
mom
work?
keeps them.
So you're not on any sort of government support?
No.
You don't take anything from anybody but your poor steppapa?
No, the dad, he pays for him and everything.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he
What?
works offshores. But, like, when he comes back in from offshores and everything, why can't he spend time with the kids and me? But he goes out and runs with his friends.
So he's either working on a oil derrick or he's running cigarettes. I can't figure out which one. What's he do offshore, baby?
He works, like, some kind of rig he works on. You know how, like, when they test pollens?
They
Test pollen?
Water?
They test pollen? Oh, he's a marine biologist.
Yes.
I knew it.
But it's like,
Marine
why does he have to go out with his friends?
Oh, because he's 22, he's an idiot, I mean, go ask your mom why your original dad had to go out with his friends. It's the same thing. He's a jackass. Why do you have to have 3 kids with him? That's the real question. What do you mean, why does he have to go out with his friends? He's a jackass, like everybody.
I hope you appreciate all the help you're getting from your mom as well.
I really
Yeah,
do.
you
My
got.
mom sends
Now
me
let's.
so much.
Having said all that,
She does. I would take Norplant and put it in both your arms if I were your mom.
But that being the case, and that being important and worthwhile to be on Norplant, this is a family that's at least taking care of itself. You know what I'm saying?
Sort of.
Yeah, I understand.
Baby's
Baby's
see how
suffering.
good they do with 3 kids
I know.
2 years from now.
I know. And baby is the one that's suffering, and God knows these 3 kids are the one that are going to suffer, and that's why we're talking to her about maybe other parents getting involved in raising these kids. But
I don't think I could go through with that
all
yet.
right. Well, listen.
How about an abortion?
No.
All right, baby.
Well, then again, though, often what I find is people forget about the sort of second tier of parents, the stepfather and the mom. Who knows what sort of toll this could exact on them later in life? I mean, that's a very tough thing to do. Even though I'm sure that they love your children and they love you, as I said to you before, don't forget for a moment that they're making a huge commitment and sacrifice in their own lives.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right. I don't know how much. What more can we say, baby? I mean,
I just need some like advice or something. You know,
our advice.
Should I leave him?
Yes.
Good.
No, I think you ought to get some professional help and get him to commit to this family, and find some way to get some leverage on this guy because he's an idiot, as Adam says, and he's not willing to live up to his responsibilities.
It's not like I need him around here because.
Yeah, but your kids need him.
Yeah, that's the only problem.
Again, you're perpetuating this chain.
Yeah.
What happens when you confront him about not being around?
He tells me things are going to change.
Yeah, and find a way to create consequences that force him to change.
All right. Can you use some birth control, please?
Yeah, that's his mom is like so good to me. You know, she helps me with the kids too and everything.
Baby, Adam is right.
On it.
Contraception or pill, okay? Get on the pill.
That's what I'm going to do.
All right.
All right.
As soon as his pregnancy's over.
Good luck there, man.
Or maybe even an IUD. She'd be an ideal candidate for an IUD, frankly, because that is in and that's it. And it may actually impair her fertility in the future.
Can you have 3 kids at 17? Doesn't
to work
your
at it.
uterus fall out at some point?
No.
All right, baby.
My mom had 3 kids at 18.
Of course.
All right. All right. Well, you've shattered her previous record.
Yeah.
All right, baby. Stop getting pregnant, please. No more kids.
This is my last one.
Okay.
And don't let them get pregnant at 18 or 14 or whenever you had to start to get them all by. Don't let them do that. There's a whole lot of life out there to soak up first.
How about a very serious question on the heels of all this?
Yes.
This country would be a lot better if...
Oh. All right. How much time do I have?
If Adam were the
48
No, but is there
minutes?
one overriding theme? I mean, one thing that you guys seem to confront all the time is that sort of a carbon copy or a blueprint is laid
Adam,
down
let me
by
go
people's
first.
parents,
All right.
and then they're destined to repeat.
I got a head of steam here.
Secondhand smoke versus pregnancy.
Which?
Go ahead.
Okay. Drew, don't steal my thunder that way, you jackass.
Adam looking very thoughtful.
Here's-
Now Adam's brow is furrowed.
Because I'm pissed. Here's the situation in this country. We have to understand. Pot that down, Mike. I'm serious now. We have to understand that people are all the same, and they react to the same stimuli. When we test polar bears and we want to know their mating habits, we test 100 of them, and that's it. We don't need to get to everyone in the population. We figure out what 100 polar bears do, how they hump, where they forage for food, where they migrate, and that's it. We're experts on polar bears. People are the exact same way. Give me 100 people, give me an age range, and I'll tell you how they react. It's very simple math. Our country has to stop spending so much time running secondhand smoke campaigns. I've heard more about this goddamn secondhand smoke in the last 2 years than I have about the real issues. And the real issues are the calls we just had. You got a 17-year-old girl who is exactly duplicating her mom's actions. 3 kids by the time she was 18. This baby's going to have 3 by the time she's 17 with no dad. And our government will not get involved with this at all.
Except to give them daycare and create forces that make it easier for this sort of thing to happen.
They're completely hands-off when it comes to this. When it comes to me having a pot plant in my backyard, we got plenty of helicopters and plenty of guys on the SWAT team to take care of troublemakers like me who do nothing but pay taxes and get nothing in return. I can't put an effing slate roof on my house because the city won't allow it.
Oh, that come
it
through today?
weighs too much, and I'm somehow a danger to myself in the neighborhood by putting a slate roof on my house. Meanwhile, they're completely hands-off when it comes to people like Baby who just want to churn out kids like they're in some sort of a Guatemalan shoe factory. It is ridiculous. This country is going to come undone. We spend so much time talking about building prisons, about the unemployment, about crime, but we will never touch the subject of people who shouldn't have kids having broods. This is the biggest problem this country faces. Go find out who's in prison. Find out who 99% of the people in prison are. I'll tell you who they are. They're people who didn't have dads. They had a mom who couldn't take care of them. They had a ton of sisters and brothers and not enough food on the table. They're on the street at 12, 13 years old committing violent crime. That's all this country needs to focus on. Not the pot plants, not the roof. The unwanted kids. The kids that are going to grow up and kill Drew's kids. Those are the kids we got to worry about. And this goddamn secondhand smoke, 30% of people who smoke die 7 years earlier than they should. Big effing deal. It's not an issue. And meanwhile, you don't hear anything about this situation. What about birth control, for Christ's sake? All right, Drew, go ahead.
Ditto. All right, let's go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's it? Okay, that's what we feel the issues are.
Yeah, that is the issue.
The fact that that we're the only show that I'm aware of that talks about the morning after pill. That
By the way,
you
I
can...
mentioned on that Talkback Live, I was attacked.
Oh, yes.
Like, you're glorifying sexuality of teens. What do you mean? What do you mean you're telling them not to have sex? It's like, hey, I'm not judging them for having sex. I'm trying to prepare them for doing it if they're going to do it and help them understand why they shouldn't.
Could you imagine if this country got behind secondhand smoke or got behind the morning after pill like they get behind the terror of secondhand smoke?
Yeah.
Please, with all these trumped-up numbers. You use the bathroom in a smoky bar and run through it at a full clip, and it's equivalent to smoking a carton of unfiltered cigarettes. Oh, please. I swear to God, where do they find these scientists? These guys, you know, the guys who work on the secondhand smoke campaign are just as bad as the scientists that tobacco companies employed 20 years ago to tell you that nicotine wasn't addicting.
Yeah.
This is an impressive show of solidarity.
Oh, yeah.
Did you notice that Drew just said ditto when you got done with your speech?
We are in this environment every night together, and you can't miss the obvious situation. I mean,
please, we need some tough love in this country, and we need the government to intervene where they need to intervene, and not leave us poor guys who want to put roofs on our houses alone.
Did you get nailed today? They hand down the decision.
I am anticipating a negative result. Ann?
Yeah.
You're 22.
Yeah. At first, I just wanted to say I think you guys are great. I've learned more listening to your show in the last 2 months about my friends' relationships and my relationships than I have in the last 5 years.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
Put that in your piece, Paul.
What was that?
Go ahead, Ann.
What's up?
I actually think on that note that I think my mother may be an alcoholic, and I'm trying to figure out how I could tell and what, if anything, I should do about it.
Well, alcoholism, a definition that I find very useful is the following. It's a biological disease with a genetic basis.
Okay.
The hallmark is progressive use and or preoccupation in spite of consequences. Consequences mean disruption of relationships, work or school, financial circumstances, legal, or health.
Okay.
And then finally denial, some form of denial about what's happening.
Okay. The complication is I'm about 5 hours away, so I can't.
So she's an addict. She's an alcoholic, right?
Well, I think so. I've been gone for 6 years.
Why do you think so?
You don't have to drink heavily, Ann, to be an alcoholic. You just have to have the consequences. And if it's disrupting your relationship with her and she won't stop the relationship with alcohol, that's alcoholism.
No, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
So what would be what?
She will progress. She may wax and wane a little bit depending on what stage of the illness she's in, but she will progress.
Well, how long has she been doing this?
She's drank every day, I would guess, probably since I was 13. But it was never, she wasn't falling down drunk every night. So that's what my impression.
Did you hear me talk about falling down drunk anywhere in my definition?
No.
Or liver disease or vomiting or seizures?
No.
No, it's the consequences that define the disease.
Right.
And the history, the biology. It's a biological disorder. So you can bet her dad or granddad was an alcoholic.
I think both of her parents were.
Yeah, so there you go. Just that piece of information puts her at 50% probability of having the disease. Okay?
Okay.
Puts you at 50-50 too of getting that genetic makeup. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
2.
Okay, so at least one of them is going to be an alcoholic. Okay?
Wow.
That's just the nature of the condition.
Okay, someone's vulnerable.
So
they're in her situation.
How do you do it?
How do you say to yourself, I do not want to go down that road?
You just don't do it.
You have to be very careful with thrill-seeking behaviors. Try to find ways to cope that don't include escaping. Be very direct with your coping strategies, because alcoholics have very effective systems that they can activate that help them feel better. And it's a path of least resistance, and humans, of course, follow that path. But, Ann, the deal is round everybody up, confront her, require her to get treatment, or be unwilling to be a part of her disease. support the recovery, reject the disease, and that means she may lose the important people in her life. If you want to do something formal, you can hire an interventionist, and they'll bring it together in a formal way and
would it be
ambush her.
inappropriate to have a keg at that intervention?
Yeah,
I mean, for the people that didn't have a problem?
It might give the wrong message out, yeah. It's a little insensitive.
You're spending a Saturday afternoon at someone's house, and it's not like you're the one with the problem.
A couple six-packs, okay.
Okay, all right, because that's what it would take to get me there. Carla? Hey, you know, it would be a diabolical plan. I hadn't thought of this, but we talked about interventions before. Hold on, Carla. You know what I would do if I was planning an intervention? I would enlist the person I was having the intervention for and saying I was having an intervention for someone else. And I'd say,
see how they got involved.
You got to help me.
Bait and switch.
And then I would drag them over to this person's house, and you got to be here at such and such a time. And then when they showed up,
nail them.
I'd nail them.
Yeah.
Isn't that good?
You might get them thinking, too, about their own disease.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, see.
A surprise intervention party.
It's an interesting technique.
Carla.
Yeah?
You're 22. What's going on?
I'm having a problem. I don't orgasm. I don't come. I've been with my boyfriend for 2 months, and I just got out of a long-term relationship, out of a 9-year relationship, and the whole time that I was with my boyfriend, I just never came. I've never, or maybe I have, and I just don't know.
You're 22.
I'm 22.
You just got out of a 9-year relationship.
Yeah, I was with him since I was 12 years old.
How do you even be with someone at 12? I mean...
I don't know. I guess my mom died when I was really young, and my dad just never really.
How old was he when you were 12?
I'm sorry?
How old was he when you were 12?
He was, 15, so he was 3 years older than me.
Right.
And I mean, I guess he never really knew, or I always faked it. I just, or maybe I just thought that I did, and now it's just like
9 years of faking. You should get an Emmy.
Exactly. I never got anything out of it.
Susan Lucci didn't have that many years of acting under her belt. Hey, Carla?
Yeah?
Hang on. We got to go to break.
Okay.
Susan Lucci never won an Emmy.
Right. She still didn't win this last year. She's getting famous off not winning.
You're better publicity. Yes.
Just so Drew can wince, at 12, what grade are you in?
Gosh, I was in with 7th grade.
No, 6.
What grade?
7th grade.
7th grade.
All right.
13 is 8th grade.
Can
Depends.
be. Can be.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, we got to argue about the grades during the break, because I think 12 is the 6th grade.
I just got out of 6th grade. And when I got with him, I was at the end of 6th grade.
And he was in high school?
Yeah, actually, he dropped out of high school.
Oh, what a surprise. He was off to med school? Okay. All right. Don't worry, we're just kidding. Paul, do you want to ask us another question, and then we'll go to break?
Well, we'll fire this off at you.
Well, I'll tell you what.
How long?
What?
Okay,
Yes.
do you guys want to stay a team and keep doing this?
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
Okay. If I'm not here when we come back from break, does that answer your question?
Well, that means I'll just slide over into your chair and continue with Drew.
Loveline. Be right back.
Here, Paul's a CNN entertainment reporter. He's helping out with some of the calls and doing a bit of an on-air interview in kind of a fun format. I enjoy this.
Different from the questioning that goes on at the Studio City Pitch and Putt.
That's right,
Yeah.
where Paul and I have been known to attempt to par 9 holes. Phone number, 1-800-LOVE-191. Fax number, 310-854-4455. Blink 182. And tomorrow night, Safe Ferris night after that. And finally, the Deftones. Drew, I know you're looking forward to the Deftones still.
Yeah.
Okay, do you know what the Deftones are?
No.
Okay.
We
Now-
revealed that earlier when Drew did not come up with a favorite band or solo artist.
Yeah, he put so much time into this show. All right, why don't we finish up with Carla, and then we'll address Paul's question. And I believe the question was to us.
I'm just going to go back to the band. I like
An answer?
Fiona stuff.
Fiona Apple.
Yeah, I like listening to Fiona stuff.
Yeah, we've seen her.
Yeah.
Or maybe we've brought her out a
For
time
solo
or two.
artists, that'd be Fiona.
Plays the piano.
Yeah, I know.
Kids like her.
Right.
Right. Your kids like Fiona?
My daughter loves her.
Yeah, we brought her out on stage once, and I think actually Fiona gave Drew's daughter some sort of necklace or something.
No, the stars offer. But answer the question: how long are we going to be in this together?
Oh, well, we have no idea.
I can say as long as it's worthwhile, as long as people get something from it.
Mm.
You know, I'll go as long as it is useful.
Have you ever genuinely been mad at the other guy and wanted to stop the whole thing?
You mean wanted to get him out of here? Call
Yes.
the boss, get him fired? No. Well, maybe, but not really.
No.
Well, I've seen you guys together enough. I know how well you get along.
We love each other.
Yeah.
We really
It's
do.
a mutual admiration society.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we love
Okay.
each other.
Now Adam is making very strange faces.
It's funny how he doesn't want to do any follow-up questioning on that one.
I'd like to continue this until, as long as we can, or until I can get some other kind of gig that pays more. But we really enjoy this, especially the radio. I mean, what a gig. Nobody looking over our shoulder, no one telling us what to do,
Trying to do good.
Show up at 5 to 10, leave at 5 after 12, and get some free sneakers and a free CD for the trouble.
You do have the best hours of anybody I know.
It's a great gig, and I truly enjoy
He does,
it.
not you, Drew.
Yeah.
Drew, I know you're a workaholic.
Yeah.
Right. This is a great
Long
gig.
day.
And at the risk of sounding corny, as I said to somebody the other day, how many folks would give their right nut to sit around with Dr. Drew and chew the fat with this guy? I mean, this guy's a very interesting, very intelligent, very
Wow.
thought-provoking guy.
That is the nicest thing you've ever
This is
said.
a touching moment.
I am
All
touched.
right, shut Drew's mic off. And part of the attraction of this job is I get to come in and hang out not only with Drew, but producer Ann and Lisa and Sherry and
Careful how you use that word attraction.
engineer Mike.
Kind of freaks me out a little bit.
And, just sort of hang out with people I really enjoy and do a job I really enjoy. But like I said, there's a lot of people that would give their left nut to spend 10 minutes in a room with Drew picking his brain for either medical advice or just chewing the fat in general. And I get to do it every night.
Let's help Carla.
Carla,
He'll go back to abusing me in a few seconds.
you're 22.
He'll compensate for that. don't worry.
All right, so you were in a long-term relationship, a 9-year relationship that you started when you were 12
Yeah.
and ended at 21 or so.
Yeah.
And you never had an orgasm during that entire relationship.
Never. Or if I have, I just don't know.
You've never had one on your own?
To tell you the truth, I've never done it on my own.
Ann?
And
Ann?
I'm afraid to do it on my own, I guess. It feels weird.
Oh, Ann.
What's a,
Let's let the
Well-
ladies help.
yeah, I know.
I
but
mean, it feels weird. There's something else going on there if she's afraid to do it.
Yeah, but how do you get women to understand how to find that place emotionally where it doesn't feel
Well, you
so...
got to be comfortable with yourself and your own sexuality.
How do I know if I'm comfortable with
If
myself?
you're totally uncomfortable with yourself and your body and touching yourself, it's not going to happen. You're not going to relax enough for anything to happen.
So I'm never gonna orgasm, or I'm
No,
never gonna
no,
come, or-
you're just not in that place right now.
Will I ever be there?
Did anything happen to you that might block your ability to calm down about your sexuality?
No.
You were never abused or...
oh,
What happened?
I don't really think that it would. I don't really think that it would.
What happened?
Well, when I was little, I was molested when I was little.
Okay, well, that always has this kind of an influence.
well, duh, Carla.
Carla-
Don't you listen to this show?
Yeah, but it just doesn't. I never think about it. It never enters my mind. It's just.
Yeah, well, it
Doesn't have to rule your life, but it's certainly a factor.
it is an organizing part of your character structure.
So because of that, I can never come, or I can.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it affects it, of course. It affects how you feel about relationships, and about yourself, and about your
Who
sexuality.
molested you?
My grandpa.
Ugh.
I wonder why she had the boyfriend at age 12 now, Drew.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think it was more maybe a security thing with my boyfriend, kind
Yeah.
of.
Hey, Carla, a couple of quick questions. When did you lose your virginity to your boyfriend?
Oh, about a month after we were together. He was my first.
Well, your first, other than Grandpa.
Yeah.
At age
12?
Age 12.
Yeah.
Where's Grandpa now?
He died a couple years ago.
Oh, that's nice. What part of hell's he in?
Hopefully deep, far in.
Did he have intercourse with you?
No.
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 No, so he's not such a bad guy. This to me, Drew, can you, and he's your biological grandfather?
Yeah, he's my dad's dad.
Yeah. Can you imagine that impulse? We try to understand it once in a while here on the show. And can you imagine the impulse of wanting to touch your grandchild in that way? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean,
can't conceive of it.
It's bizarre.
Can you even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, is it even in the spectrum of thoughts or emotions that you have You know what I mean? Is it even in there?
No.
It's amazing to me. But Carolla, you were molested by your grandfather. You lost your virginity at age 12. I mean, there's serious.
Well, yeah, I guess she lost her virginity. Yeah.
Just quiet down. I was on some kind of roll there. The point is there's serious issues going on here. And for a woman, the orgasm can be certainly more emotional than it is physical, at least compared to men. Okay? So, obviously this is an issue, and obviously you have to get into some therapy and work out some of these
But interestingly,
things.
she was able to maintain a relationship for 9 years. I mean, she is able
with
to
a guy who nailed her when she was 12.
Yeah.
God knows what that thing was like.
Yeah, but they had there was something there.
The guy dropped out of high school and he was nailing a 6th or 7th grader, for Christ's sake. The guy's a criminal.
Well, another abuser. And that's, of course, the only thing she knows how to go for.
All right, Carolla.
Uh-huh.
Therapy.
Therapy?
Oh, please.
That's the only way?
Listen, my mom made me eat weeds once when I was 11. I'm in constant therapy. I actually have one of those 7-Eleven surveillance cameras set up in my living room that I speak to my therapist over almost 24 hours a day, just from the one incident of my mom forcing me to eat like dandelions or something after watching this goddamn Yul Gibbons talk about pine cones in 1976.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Let's just say Carolla doesn't have the means, and I don't know if you do or don't, Carolla, to pay for some private therapist. Where can she turn to? Give her...
there are many prorated or free services out there. I would suggest you start with, say, a university or a training situation where there are interns and people in training who can begin. And these people will see you through your therapy typically over several, if not many years. So I would start with a teaching center. And that's usually low price, if any.
So that's sort of a universal question that we could throw out to everybody out there.
Yeah, it's real hard. It's funny. Mental health services are really hidden away in the community because it's such huge need that they don't really advertise themselves because they'll be overwhelmed.
It's this problem of secondhand smoke that's so pervasive, Drew.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah,
we have to deal with that first, and then we'll get to the psychotic folks. You understand? Because you could die in 60 years.
Paul, a question?
Oh, for Christ's sake. Let me say this to all you folks who say you can't afford therapy. I went to therapy when I was digging ditches. I was making $7 an hour. It sucked, but you can afford it. It just sucks.
Okay, react to this. Let me say this about both you guys. I think you guys do a tremendous service.
However,
you're clearly good at what you do. I admire you both as people. I hear very few criticisms of your work.
Which is weird.
Yes, but we've gone around.
Considering what we do for a living, yeah.
And considering I work at a place where people have opinions on everything. However, Adam, criticism, from time to time they'll say, Adam, you are so wound up and ready to uncork your one-liners that you're not listening. Although I think people have said you've gotten better about that. How do you react to that?
I would first like to say that Rabbi comes into a bar, okay? I don't know what the question was, but picture this. Rabbi goes into Hell's Angels bar, right? Orders 2 fingers of Manischewitz.
I would defend him on that one. I would tell.
Oh, please!
No, wait. Whoever.
No, he actually said this to me the other day when he came in. He said he thinks that you.
If anybody would say that, I would say listen for another 10 minutes.
What one-liners? First off,
you know one-liners. That's the point.
Well, that was Paul. That was phraseology.
That was a phraseology.
That's okay. I'm so thinking about my jokes.
Your
that I don't
humorous diatribes.
Yes.
That's
his job on TV.
Well, thanks. That's an interesting point. Yes, for those of you who aren't familiar with the show, my job is to try to make it palatable or somewhat entertaining because God knows Drew will just drone on forever without any entertainment at all.
That's right.
No entertainment coursing through his veins. But I listen to all the calls and all the questions because the comedy comes from the questions. And it took me a long time to learn that. When I first started doing this show, I started getting into trouble because a person would spit out in the first 30 seconds, I'm 18 years old, I'm bisexual, I've been with my boyfriend for 6 months, and he's an alcoholic. And then I would lean forward and say, do you have a boyfriend? Are you married? And then everyone would look at me and go, she's been with her boyfriend for 6 months. And then I'd say, have you ever had a lesbian experience? She said she was bi. And you'll miss you'll miss the question. So I did try to start listening. But, yes, I do have to think ahead every once in a while and try to keep the show moving along and make it entertaining.
That's more of a TV thing, too.
Oh, certainly more of a TV thing. And I'm sorry for sounding
Now,
so
here comes mine.
defensive. But
Okay,
all the
Drew,
critics can kiss my ass. Go ahead.
Some of the very witty, attractive, sharp women on the assignment desk at CNN have pointed out that they think at times you make it sound like some women are only victims and that they are always manipulated by men who are ready to take them into the bedroom and do their thing.
Yep.
But that suggests that women have no power and that some of them aren't making choices because they find this guy desirable, or
No, absolutely.
that's the guy that they have a laser focus on.
That is a absolutely valid criticism, and unfortunately, because I talk to a population that needs to hear the message so clearly, that what gets left out sometimes is it doesn't apply in all cases, and sometimes I'll qualify it, but I'm pounding on the issue so hard that it could easily. That's a valid criticism. So.
Yeah, that is true, Drew. You got to knock that crap off.
I will, don't worry. Well, you know what nails me on that is Diane Farr. Just nails me on that every time. And as that season went on, the last Loveline season for MTV went along, she was really yanking my chain a bunch about that stuff, and it was sort of keeping me much more close to reality than to my desire to make a point.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, she's sort of a man trapped inside a woman's body.
No, she's not.
She's like a frat boy trapped inside a woman's
well, the more
body.
we learn about her, the more it seems.
Oh,
that
yes. All right, Paul Vercammen is here. Paul Vercammen is here from CNN. We will take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, I believe we're going to talk to Tyrone. Tyrone's 23.
And a tough question for Adam's coming up.
Oh, good. Let's see, what kind of tree would I be? Him and his girlfriend live together but don't get along. How to patch things up. True, what kind of call is that? Oh, it's a guy who's been on hold for 110 minutes. All right, we'll breeze through that one when we come back.
Loveline. Devin from Deftones, and you're listening to Loveline with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew.
Oh ho! Wow. They'll be in on Thursday, so you can expect more of that. Paul Vercammen is here from CNN. He is an entertainment reporter. He's a friend of ours. He is hanging with us tonight, doing a bit of an on-the-air interview and helping out with the calls. Calls like Tyrone, who's 23.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say you guys really are good at what you do.
Thank you.
I agree.
Thanks, Paul.
Wow. All right, Tyrone, what's up?
What's up? Well, I'm with my girlfriend, right? We just moved in together, and everything in the beginning was going all right.
Mm-hmm.
Except for these last few months. And, well, I'm sleeping on the floor. She's sleeping in the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
What's happening? What happened?
I mean, we're always arguing.
Why?
She's stubborn and I'm stubborn.
What are you stubborn about?
She wants it always her way.
What is it?
The relationship, everything.
Okay, give me an example.
Oh, okay. She's bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
she wants to be able to go out with girls?
Yeah, she wants to go out with girls. I don't agree with that.
So that's not a real that's chaos. That's not a relationship.
So you want to
And
go
what
out.
does she say when you tell her this?
She gets mad.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Tyrone?
Yeah.
I'm just playing a hunch here, but I got an extra 10 years on this earth, more than you do, and I'm telling you, this thing's done. She's bisexual. You're living together. It ain't working out.
She's not going to commit.
I wouldn't.
She's not going to commit. And
By the way,
be crazy if she doesn't.
I know a lot of you bisexuals, or half-mos, as I like to call you, hate it when I talk this way, but listen, when you announce that you're bisexual, you're really announcing that you're not committing to anything. For Christ's sake, you can't even pick a gender. So it's really like saying, I am going to cheat down the road.
I know she was in a relationship for like 14 years. She's 29.
Mm-hmm.
Since she was 15?
And,
maybe since she was 14, Tyrone. So she was probably, a lot like Carla, our last abused caller.
You're in over your head, Tyrone. You need to find yourself a nice 21-year-old Asian gal who's just off the boat.
Or just somebody who's going to commit to a relationship. You want a monogamous relationship. You need commitment. She is telling you she is not capable of that.
Tyrone?
And don't assume you're going to be able to change her because you're not.
Have you not had a lot of experience in relationships?
I've had a few experience. You know, I'm the type of person
I'm
that.
going with no.
Yeah.
Okay. Tyrone,
I'm kind of nervous.
Okay, I understand, but here's the deal. She's older than you. It's a big deal when you're 23 and the girl's 29. She's been around the block a few times. Tyrone's probably had himself a lady or two, but I'm guessing he hasn't lived with anyone else before, had anything long term, or at least nothing he could articulate. And this, I think he's in over his head here. I'm getting the feeling that Tyrone is more of a he's more wholesome, and she's like the gypsy acid queen from Tommy.
This will be one of his experiences.
Yes, you'll be able to tell your kids about this one. So
every pot has a lid, and Tyrone, there's probably a better fit somewhere out there for you.
What's your
that's
question,
good.
Paul? Wait,
Funny that he worked pot and lid into the same sentence. But go ahead.
Shows us where your mind goes.
Yes.
I should note for all of you viewers, both these men have very attractive significant others.
Oh, yeah.
I've met Dr. Drew's wife in Las Vegas. Adam, your girlfriend is probably an absolute composite sketch drawing of what your fantasy woman is.
Big tits, no ass. That's right.
That is just so flattering.
Just the whole.
No, I have met her at a couple of these things. She's extremely nice,
right,
forthcoming, attractive, pretty,
yes,
all of that.
Right.
So what's the deal? Blank or get off the pot. You've heard that. Talk about commitment. Are you ready to make a commitment?
Remember what I said earlier about his being detached from feelings?
I'm just wondering.
You won't reach him. He's going to give you a lot of intellectual BS right now. Go ahead.
It is. Now I feel I must weep in order to go against Drew's last statement. It is funny, boy, when it rains, it pours. I got into this with her yesterday at lunch. Then we got into this the other night on the air. And then just coincidentally, 3 or 4 of my friends, just not apropos to nothing, have asked me this in the last 24 hours. It's really bizarre.
Lynn been calling everybody, but anyway, go ahead.
And it was the crux of the conversation with the therapist today. I'm 34 years old. I've never pictured myself as being married. I've never thought of myself as a husband or a father. As I inch closer to 40 and the years or months wear on, I do see myself more becoming that. And I've always used the excuse that if I couldn't afford it and my career wasn't on track, I wouldn't do it. And that was always very handy because I never had any kind of career.
I am now a little bit. You can remember his family. Now, not to disparage your family, but his model of what a marriage is was a very painful thing. And so why would he choose to thrust himself into something that for him looks terrible?
That's a good point.
I mean, that's what I see.
But don't you hate your parents too, Drew?
I don't hate my parents.
Oh, that was just off the air fodder? I see. Okay. No, my parents were fairly bad role models when it came to the relationship end of things, and I just never thought of myself as getting married, although I'm in love with my girlfriend, and we've been together for 2.5 years, and I can see myself...
You met her at NAPTY, I think.
Just before that.
Aha.
But we pretended like we didn't know each other
That's
to
the
make
Vegas
the sex
TV
better.
convention, if you've just joined in, that we
right.
at.
Right. Boy, it's real. I'm just being bombarded with this lately.
Well, we thought it would be interesting. You dispense so much advice, and often your advice is, hey, why don't you and so tie the knot and move on?
Commit.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Julie.
That is one of my first pieces of advice.
Julie.
Yeah.
What's up?
Not much.
Drew's married and he's miserable. That's the real reason.
I'm happy.
Well, you're happy because your wife's listening.
No.
Drew's married and he's envisioning those 3 college educations.
In fact, I was shocked at how happy marriage made me. No, really.
Why do I tell your wife
No, really. I would tell her that, too, because I had
anything to do with it, guys.
But wait a second. I had a similar kind of thing as you, being afraid of it, and to me it was like, well, you're dating, and then you get married, and then you die. That's sort of how it went for me.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be something quite special. So
see, for me, it's you dating, you die, then you get married. Okay.
So what's up, Julie?
Not much.
What's going on?
Just have an opinion.
Okay. Hurry.
Well, we live in this great country of America. We have marketing geniuses that can make a billionaire out of Michael Jordan. And going back to a point earlier, we can't get birth control across to teenagers.
Right.
I have a 4-year-old, and I had the Norplant, and it didn't work.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I went and I tried what's called the Depo-Provera shot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, what ended up happening is you're supposed to get it every 3 months.
You missed it.
No, it wasn't potent enough. I have to get mine every 2.
What do you mean? How do you know it's not potent enough?
Because my cycle would start before my 3 months was up.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the thing isn't effective anymore. I mean, some women bleed the entire 3 months.
Right. Well, getting back to the Norplant wasn't potent enough.
Hey, Julie.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, we're almost at the end of the show, so
Okay. Well, let me
give
make
us the
my point real
idea.
quick. Okay. If you walk in and take a class of freshmen and sophomores in high school and tell 15 and 16-year-old girls, not that it's birth control, but that you can get rid of their period, you will have every single girl in that class line up, guaranteed.
That's right. And we ought to start calling the period the curse, like they did around the turn of the century, in order to sort of stigmatize it that much more.
Get rid of the feminine napkin and make them use rags again. That'll really motivate them.
Wait a minute. They're not using rags? This is horrible. I want a woman to look like a Molotov cocktail. Okay, hold on a second. Chris?
Yes, hi.
You're 14. We're done with the show, but you're on hold for 125 minutes and 44 seconds.
That's right. My friend, he's been touching my other friends, and he's been my best friend forever. Like since preschool.
Yeah.
And his parents know about this. They are letting him do it. They give him ginseng for him to drug girls.
Oh my God! You've got to tell somebody.
Parents?
This is horrific. You've got to tell somebody, Chris. You've got to.
My parents know. And
are they Asian?
No.
No. Well, then that ginseng thing is
Can we
totally
open with
inappropriate.
this tomorrow night? Can you get him back on the line? Chris, can we talk to you again tomorrow night?
I can try.
No, we're going to get you. So hold on, okay?
Okay.
All right. That's we got it. And in the meantime, tomorrow, tell somebody. Tell somebody at school. Tell some authorities. And get this thing going.
Wait a minute. How do you drug someone with ginseng?
Well, you don't. But the point is, the parents are not only advocating this, they're trying to.
Unfortunately, in local news, I've had to cover such stories where things just spiral out of control, and there seems to be cooperation in parents and all sorts of layers involved, and it's just gut wrenching.
I'm
going to hope that's not the case here.
The Barker gang. We will finish up the show, and Drew, keep that disgust and general disdain toward the community going. That'll be good radio for when we come back.
I feel so liquid.
It was an informative, enlightening, and thought-provoking show, was it not, Drew?
Lively, puckish satire.
Revealing.
It skewed societal mores.
I didn't ask you the tree question.
Oh, okay. I'd go with kind of tree. I have to go with like a persimmon tree.
Douglas fir.
Oh, yes. Clear Doug fir. All right. Thanks, Paul. We do appreciate it. Blink 182 tomorrow night. And until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Dr. Drew saying mahalo.
This has been Loveline. The opinions expressed herein are not necessarily those of the staff or management or producers or directors or the advertising or anyone. They might be Bob's.
I'm Bob, and they're mine.
The producer of Loveline is Ann Wilkins. Loveline is a presentation of Westwood One Entertainment.
Grr, arg. We now return you to your highly tested, regularly scheduled programming. Bye.